Hello, hello, my lovely students. I am your instructor, Dr. Liz Lambert. Please call me Liz or Dr. Liz. Lambert is my ex-husband's last name, and I don't like hearing it. So seriously, Liz or Dr. Liz. So normally I do this kind of intro at the start of class, and I'm going to try really hard to not do it in class so we can actually do the math because we're a little strapped for time this semester. So if you haven't already guessed, yes, I'm ADD. I'm on spectrum. So I'm also, though, over 40. So I'm from the lovely generation of, oh, you can't have ADD because you're a female. Uh, I am a single mom of an on-spectrum AD capital HD daughter, and I have split custody with my ex-husband, who is a narcissist. I don't use that term loosely. He's not good looking. He is just very full of himself. So she was born in 2015. She's turning 10 this February. And then in 2022, so she was born, and then within a year, I was starting my PhD, and I finished it in 2022. I got my PhD in math education. So while I enjoy high-level, interesting math, what my real passion is explaining it better to others and hopefully teaching other professors to explain it better to others. The preparation of college professors is non-existent. So if you ever wonder why some of your college professors suck, that's why. All right, I am also a board game geek, as you can see there. I'm also an avid crafter. I have had a broad range of mental health experiences. I am also technically now an orphan since both my parents are dead. Joy. Um, I say this not to brag or paint a picture, but more to say that I really have had a lot of mental health experiences. So feel free to ask me, talk to me, like just if you need a sounding board to see if something sounds weird or not. Like I've been through a lot and I've heard a lot from all of my friends. Yeah. All right. Also love video games. Yeah, love games, especially co-op. All right. So now let's talk about learning. So one of the things that not as many people know about is what's called a fixed versus a growth mindset. A lot of people, in particular with math skills, think math skills are something that you are born with. Either you're a math person or you're not. So it's something that you can do and make sense, or you're just, oh, you're not a math person, honey. No, that is complete and total bullshit. I have been teaching and tutoring for over 30 years because I really started in middle school. So I have seen the broad range of experiences. People love saying, oh, I've got to be your worst student. Think back. What's my name? Could you figure out where it was real quick? Yes, you're better than my worst student. It took her 3 months to remember my name because she had a short-term memory disability. I'm not saying this to make fun of her. It literally took her 3 months to remember my name. So getting her to get through math was skin of our teeth, but we managed it. And I'm very proud of her for that. She did a lot, an exceptional amount of hard work. And it takes a lot when you have a problem getting your short-term memory to convert into your long-term. Like holding on to anything is difficult. And she managed to graduate. So if anyone has the like, oh, I can't be, I've got to be her worst. No. So fixed mindset is thinking, oh, I'm born with an innate amount of math ability. A growth mindset is knowing that you can learn. That if something doesn't make sense right away, I'm not saying some people don't have a brain that logic makes more sense to. Yes. And some people are more artistic, creative. Yes. but you can learn these skills. We might have to figure out some interesting adaptations to make them work best for you. I'm not saying every person in the world can knit with two hands because not every person in the world has two hands. But I'm saying we can figure out a way to make it work. Another big thing is the idea of making a mistake. A lot of, especially K through 12 teachers, are terrified of making a mistake in front of their students because they're afraid that the control of the classroom will just devolve into chaos. Everything will go out the window. The students will be hanging from the rafters. Crazy. So they go to great lengths to not make a mistake in front of you. This is disingenuous to the learning process, though. I used to say, think about learning how to ride a bicycle, but nobody rides bicycles much anymore, strangely. So think about learning how to play a new game in a video game, a new platform level in a video game. Like recently, I watched my daughter play Astrobot all last semester, and she's a very nervous player. She does not want to make the jump. She's like super like, I'm afraid, any little thing. But as she played more and she got used to the way the buttons worked, like she started to trust herself to jump more and to move around better. I mean, granted, she's 9 going on 10, so she hasn't had as much experience. She's gotten a lot better now that she's playing Pokemon, though. But that first time I'm learning a level, like I'm like, okay, I can see a jump coming up. Boing, I jump. Yes. Wow, why is it shaking? I died. And we don't go like, oh, I made a mistake, end of the world, I'm done. No. You say, whatever, this is why I have infinite lives. Next. You go through and do it again, and now you know, jump as soon as you get on that platform because it's going to go away. Math is the same, very much. So we are going to be practicing processes, mathematical processes that are like learning where all the pitfalls are in a level. And the best way to learn those things is to practice it. Like you can watch a let's play, you can watch a walkthrough, but when the test comes along, you're the one with the controller having to press the buttons. So you could watch somebody else do it, but until you're holding the controller in your hand and working on the timing and which way you need to be pointing, how you need to look at it to make it make sense to you, it's not going to go as fluidly. So I put that out there because some people want to pull up AI. AI is a wonderful tool if you use it correctly. Watching videos. The Organic Chemistry Tutor is one of the best channels out there on YouTube, and he has a butt ton of math videos as well as chemistry videos. I was a chem major for a while, so I can actually say that. So when you make a mistake, I don't want you to be like, I can't do this. I give up. It's the end of the world. All you did was figure out, don't go that way. Or if I go that way, watch out for this thing here. Because I remember getting stuck in this corner and I couldn't get out for some reason until you finally figure it out. And there will be points in web work where you're like, I can't figure out what they want for this answer. I don't know what to do. It's driving me bananas. And you pop into the group me and say, hey guys, has anybody gotten D on this question? And somebody says, oh yeah, you got to put parentheses around it. What? It doesn't say to do that. No, it doesn't. WebWork likes to be annoying like that. So hopefully this isn't your first semester, but even if it is with WebWork, we'll figure it out. It's one of the big reasons we have the group me. And on the off chance you're doing web work and you figure something out that was frustrating you, like please share because there are other people who are going to get to that later, and having that note there will help them out tremendously. A big one is where the commas go. It is very easy to put a comma in the wrong space, and the web work error message is totally useless. I told you I was ADD. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about other ways of learning. So one of the things that we don't do because it is absolute chaos in a classroom is verbalizing your thinking. Like think about it. How often do you actually like talk through a problem in a classroom? Especially if you're in like one of those huge chemistry classrooms? God, no. You wouldn't be able to hear anything. But That process of thinking through and verbalizing what you're doing actually helps your brain organize and structure because you have to think about what am I going to say next? And what am I going to say after that? And why am I going to say that after that? It actually does help you. And they have this technique. I learned it from computer science geeks. So, in some computer science programs, you start out and they hand you a rubber duck. And some of you guys are like, she is crazy. They do not. I promise you, they do this. So, you're writing your program, you're doing all the thing, it's got all the little pieces, and you hit debug, and it's supposed to like basically spell check your code, and it's like, this doesn't work. What do you mean it doesn't work? I don't know, it just doesn't work. So, before you go to your professor and say, my code doesn't work, what do I do? Well, did you go back and look at it? No. Did you talk through what it was supposed to do and see if it was doing that? No. Okay, go explain it to your rubber duck, then come back. And I'm not kidding you. You literally look at your code and you like explain, okay, this section is supposed to do this. It's supposed to reference this in here. All right. And then it goes into this subroutine. It's supposed to do this calculation and this is supposed to call. Oh, that's not what I named that variable. Oh, there it is. So it sounds weird, but it's actually helpful. Now in math, this can feel a lot more awkward, but working with someone else or a group of someone else's and explaining a problem that you got or explaining a problem you're stuck on. Talk through what you've done so far, what you've tried. And even if you did get it, like explaining it to the other people in the group helps you learn it a lot better. That's why our tutors in the tutoring lab are so good because they've been explaining the math. I can't tell you how many times I was in the middle of explaining a problem to someone and I'm like, that's why we do this weird thing over an analysis because of this. It's weird the connections you'll make. So, learning how to verbalize yourself. And that's part of what we're doing with all the writing assignments we give you is that's another way of helping your brain organize and collect the information. All right, so in classroom, I would love to have all these wonderful Desmos assignments like some of y'all saw in 1073, but I don't have a grant to pay me to write all the wonderful things like y'all saw in 1073. I do have at least one that hopefully you guys get to see maybe probably before you see this video. Um, so I have a few, but what I try to do in class is that we work through problems from the writing assignment or the homework that are being weird so you guys can see the ins and out, the intricacies of the problem. But that only works if you guys are actually working the problems before you come to class. Now, I know it sounds very stupid. You want me to do my homework before we talk about it in class. Yes. Even if all you do is you go through, read a problem, try something, or read it and go, I have no earthly idea what this wants. That's okay. I also have lecture videos with notes. We'll talk about in the first day of class. But at the very least, you guys do have some foundational knowledge you're coming in with. So that is what I'm going to bank off of. Now, if there's some time where I'm talking about a concept and you're like, I have no clue, ask me. Yes, right in the middle of class, interrupt me and ask. One, it gives me a chance to breathe because as you see, I don't do that enough. But it also like causes me to like pause, reflect. Did I get overexcited and babble too long again? I will totally do that. So I need you guys to help me out to be like, whoa, pause, wait, rewind, go back up. And I'll be like, which part? Where am I going? Because I write everything on my computer, so I can go back. I don't typically erase things. I just scroll. But if I start answering and you realize I didn't understand your question, feel free to interrupt me. I have given a 5 minute long explanation of a whole problem, and then the student said, no, I just wanted to know, is that a five or a nine? And I looked and went, that's an S. Because when I write way too fast, my fives, my nines, and my S's can all look alike. So I'm going to do the same for y'all, though. If you ask me a question and I'm not understanding, I'm going to ask you to clarify it to help me figure out what you're trying to ask. Because I know you're learning a concept. So you're like, what's going on with the thing? And I'll be honest, I'm a mom. My daughter has done this for 7 years now. Mom, go there. Where? There. Where? There. So as long as you give me a little more than there, like that one at the top, yay, more than there, I will be very happy. So if you see me do a like grumpy mom face, it's just me remembering my daughter doing that 20 million times. It's not y'all. In fact, generally, anytime I make a grumpy face, it's not y'all. It's either me being mad at society for putting you in the position to ask the question, as weird as that sounds, or I'm remembering something my daughter did that kind of annoyed me, or my ex-husband. He did a lot. Again, ADD. All right. So, one of the big things is getting a study group together to do the homework with. Like, I'm not kidding. It sounds weird, but like, honestly, just sitting in a group with a bunch of other people and you're all just working on the web work and you're not even talking, you go like 15 minutes and no one says anything, but you're still all there. You're all accountable to each other to be working, and it actually helps you work more efficiently. And you know they're there if you do get stuck or if something goes weird, you can be like, "Hey, are you on this one yet?" No? Okay, I'll pause and I'll come back. Tell me when you get there. Like it really does help. And you can also do that in the tutoring lab. So that way, if it does go really weird, or if like the rest of your group isn't there because they all had a group project for that class you're not taking with them, you can be like, hey, this is not doing the do that it should do. They are awesome for that. Tutoring lab opens on Monday, the 27th, and it's right down the hall from my office. Shameless plug? No, if we get more students in, we get more money for it. All right, and then the last topic that I like to address is test anxiety. Math test anxiety in particular. Those are two four-letter words that freak people out. About the only thing potentially worse is public speaking. So, public speaking, math, test, and making a mistake. Like, math class has all of these big fears all in one spot. I try my damnedest to make sure that our classroom is a safe space. If you make a mistake and somebody else thinks it's funny, they better not make any sort of visual or auditory cue because I will turn around and jump on them like a mama bear. It's going to be all Lion King. Woo. Sorry, weird reference. I will also jump on your case if you insult yourself. Negative self-talk really does make you think worse of yourself. So you need positive self-talk. I know I'm like that weird mom character. Or if you don't have a weird mom character, come on by. I have snacks at my desk. But test anxiety is a very real thing that many people suffer from. So, one of the things we do on our test is any formulas we will provide for you. You will have use of not a graphing, not your cell phone, but a scientific calculator. Now, if you get a good scientific calculator, it will rationalize square roots for you. It will do all of the fraction math for you. It will do all of the order of operations as long as there's no variables for you. Hell, I think some of them will even do the variable parts. But shh, don't tell my colleagues they don't think they can do that. So, one of the things that you need is to get a calculator and get familiar with it as you're doing your math work, because that is the tool you will have with you on the test. If you read a test question and you truly have no clue, either move on to the next question or come up and ask me. Like, I just brain blanked. What is this one? And I'll try to give you like a verbal nudge in the right direction without saying too much. Or you might be the first person to point out, I made a typo. I'm human. It happens. Of course, I have a team of teachers working with me now, so it doesn't happen near as often as it used to. One of the best study tools for any test, not just math, is writing a cheat sheet. Even though you're not going to use it to cheat, the act of summarizing your notes, putting down the key points that you know you struggle with, that is the best way to study for a test. So, like, type one up, take screenshots of your online book, like, whatever you need to do. It doesn't have to be one page, but you do want to focus on condensing and summarizing. But think about if I had a cheat sheet, what would I put on it? Now, for formulas, we're going to give that to you, so you're not going to have to like memorize, regurgitate. We might ask you to do that on one test, but I will give you plenty of warnings about it beforehand. And there's a lot of nice patterns, and honestly, you can actually use the calculator for some of it too. Okay, in pre-cal, we still do test corrections. It's not going to be as crazy as it was in past semesters. So you can earn up to 10 points for doing the practice problems in web work before the test, and you can earn up to 10 points for correcting any errors you made in your test after the test. So that's up to 20 points, two whole letter grades worth. When we grade the tests, we also give partial credit. So if you work a whole problem and your only mistake was you wrote a 2 and on the next line you decided that was a 5 or a 3, and then you did the rest of the problem with it being a 3 and everything else is correct and you demonstrated the skill I wanted to see, I might take off 1 point. I may not take off any points. Because usually when you guys make that kind of typo, you make the problem much worse and harder. Sometimes it leads to a dead end, so I can't see you do the thing you're supposed to do, and you don't have time to figure out where the mistake was, hence test corrections. And we're also really good about making sure the practice problems match the test. Because we're lazy and we don't want to write two sets of questions when we can write one set and change the numbers. No, seriously, we're all that lazy. All right. I think I've babbled long enough, but hopefully you see I am a zany, bubbly, but welcoming and encouraging person who will firmly defend your right to make a mistake, but chastise you for bad talking yourself. Seriously, no negative self-talk. You are not stupid. You made a mistake. You can come back from a mistake. You can't fix stupid. So seriously. All right. I'll see y'all in class.